Hola, excuse me. Hi, 2 minutes. Do you speak English? No, you're Mexican. I noticed you. Tu muy fit fibra. Yeah, yeah. Y tu muy pequeña. So, Datista. Uh-oh. Peligroso.
Okay.
Tienes Instagram. Do you have Instagram? Okay, let me grab it. One of the things that holds guys back most from approaching the women they actually want is the fear of running out of things to say. That moment of awkward silence where the mind goes blank and so does the girl's face. Today, I'm going to be going over the 3 techniques you absolutely need to know to extend your conversations, make them flirtatious and fun, and then ultimately land the date. The first one is one that might feel counterintuitive to you, but it makes all the difference when you're actually talking to women. And that is a technique of using assumptions. And so I'm going to make an assumption here that you already know what an assumption is, but let me break it down a little bit more because you're probably not familiar with how to actually implement this into your conversations in a way that makes these a lot more fun and engaging for the woman. What most guys like to do is ask question after question after question. And it makes sense, guys, so no judgment. That's typically how we interact and engage in conversation when we're trying to meet somebody. But what happens is it can look something like this. Hey, do you like sports? You like to work out? Do you live here? Oh, okay, what's your name? Okay. So as you can see, the problem with this is it leads to very dry interactions. It essentially turns into an interview. And so what you want to do is implement assumptions. Yeah, guys, earlier in my cold approach days when I was starting off, I was at about 700 approaches and I wasn't getting the results I wanted. Exactly what I just said. I would be going up to girls, I'd be asking them a lot of questions, they would look bored, and occasionally I would get the number, but it really wouldn't ever go anywhere except for here or there, or unless they had really high sexual attraction to me. So it was really frustrating because I've been putting in all this work and I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. I was at like 700 approaches and I went to Poland, and there a buddy really taught me the power of assumptions. When he would go up to a girl, he would just sweep her off her feet because he was pointing out all these different things about her. And she was just sitting there captivated because it felt like he knew everything about her, even though they had just met. He was leading the conversation, and therefore it created that really strong man to woman vibe. So he finally taught me this because he was listening to my cold approaches and they weren't going very well. And he told me to start doing assumptions. And I remember the day I did it, and it was amazing because I went out, did my normal approaches, and I remember getting like 5 girls' numbers from beautiful Polish girls that all were like my 10 out of 10 type. And they all responded to me too. It was amazing because on that day, I realized how powerful assumptions are. And I literally went from being frustrated with the results I was getting. And in one day, it turned around just from starting to implement assumptions. So one of the things you want to do in an approach is create a really strong man to woman vibe. And what that means is having more of a romantic connection, having a more romantic vibe in the approach so that it doesn't lead to dry, boring conversation. And typically with the dry, boring interview style conversations, they lead to nowhere, which is not what we want. We want to be having dates with these high quality, beautiful women that we want to date and potentially have long-term relationships with. And so assumptions really help create this strong man to woman vibe for a few reasons. So the first thing you want to think about when starting to implement assumptions into your approaches and understand this on a deeper level is, one, what do women like talking about most? You guessed it, themselves. So we want to expedite that process as much as possible. However, we want to do it in a way that isn't people-pleasing and simpy like maybe you've done in the past and what most guys do, trying to earn their validation, trying to get them to like them. We want to do it in a way that creates that really strong man-to-woman vibe like we talked about earlier. This is what creates strong attraction and that flirtatious vibe. Versus in the other way, you can tell when she's starting to tune out a bit and really not engage in the conversation, and that's what we really want to avoid. There's a different energy between the people-pleasing and the flirtatious mode, which is what we're going for here. A lot of you guys are pretty good at night games, so you've probably experienced this in the club where you guys are just vibing and the energy is really high. But what a lot of you guys struggle to do is take that out into the streets where you can create that in a platonic environment. And an environment where it's not typically normal to talk to women, at least like from a societal perspective. So what's really nice about assumptions versus questions is you can really start to dive into who she is. And she'll really like this because it'll show that you understand women, which is what women are attracted to. They want to know their guy just kind of gets it. And this can be done super simply by just observing things about her. And the best part is you don't actually have to get things right, like in this example.
No.
No, very young because of the braces.
Really?
So as you can hear from this example, I got it wrong. And she ended up correcting me, but because I was doing assumptions and I was in a flirty mode, I was able to play it off really cool. I didn't get awkward about it. I didn't try to qualify myself. I made another assumption of why I believed that she was a student. And she actually liked that because it was a backwards compliment. I was complimenting her on being young, which most women like to hear, but I wasn't overtly directly saying it. I was doing it covertly, which is a huge part of how women communicate. Us men, we're more direct, we're more logical, we want to just say what we want to say. Women will often say things in a way where we kind of have to figure it out. But we'll touch more on that in another video. And again, back to that example, because I played it off cool, because I was doing assumptions, it didn't make her uncomfortable. And that's really what we want to avoid, guys, is that moment where she does want to walk away and you can tell she doesn't feel safe around you. We want to create that vibe, that strong man to woman vibe, like I was telling about earlier, where she does feel comfortable and safe in our presence and enjoying our company. And that's what assumptions can really help you do. So one really easy exercise you can start doing to make this more intuitive, to where you can just do this off the cuff whenever you want and have better connections, is when you're out and about, just observe things about different people and kind of play this game in your mind to where you notice little details about people that you probably wouldn't consciously think about otherwise. This will start to turn your brain into this mode to where you're able to pick up on details and make assumptions very quickly. So when you do talk to these beautiful women, you just know what to say off the bat. So for example, you're walking on the street, you see a guy in a really nice suit. You can say to yourself, oh, dude, you must be a finance bro. Or you see a girl really dolled up. You can say to yourself, oh, she must be from the upper side of town. The thing with this exercise and why it will really help you start to be able to lock in this idea is that there's so many things you can observe about somebody. Millions of possibilities. And that's what's so much better than questions, is because with questions, we really do run out of things to say at some point. I mean, you can make assumptions of anything, the way she looks, the way she's talking, what she's holding, her height. Like there's a million different possibilities of things that you can come up with. And that's why this exercise will really help you start to dial this in. And so if any of this is resonating with you and you are ready to start having results in your cold approach journey, tired of getting the no, tired of getting I have the boyfriend, tired of not really being able to create connection, even though you're going out there and putting in the work, trying to do cold approach, going and talking to women, facing your fears, then I'm really looking forward to sharing with you my systematic approach that I've developed to help you really start to understand this and get the results that you want with the women you want, with your 9s, with your 10s. And then whether you want to build a relationship or have a abundant dating life, all of that is available for you. I've helped dozens of guys figure this out, so I know that wherever you are in your journey, you can implement the system right into your cold approach and start getting the results that you want. So fill out an application with me down below for a chance to work with me personally. And hey, start getting some wins under your belt. It's possible. And by the way, if you do need help implementing this, if you want to fast track the process, and if you feel like your conversation skills are just not up to par, maybe you've been watching hours of content and still feel like you're getting nowhere, we can help you with this directly. Make sure to click the link down below in the description and fill out a quick application for a chance to work with me directly. So in this example that I'm about to show you, one of my main go-tos is you're Mexican. Okay. Eres mexicana.
Sí.
Yeah. And you're very small. Tú muy pequeña.
Yeah. So.
And like, obviously she's Mexican. We live in Mexico. It's a great way to get the conversation flowing because it's a way for me to say why I came up to them. And then as well, I assume that they are Mexican and I pointed out their eyes, their hair, and then they're very small. And that always gets them laughing because it is like a notorious fact that Mexicans are typically a smaller people than a lot of the rest of the world. So it's a good way to start getting banter into the conversation and ultimately make her laugh too. And as you can hear in these examples, I do have go-tos that I like to go to. And it's okay to have that. You're Mexican. You're a student. Versus, hey, are you a student? Hey, do you live in Mexico? And so I'll typically start by commenting on her ethnicity. You're Colombian, you're Venezuelan, you're Argentinian, and then of course, you're Mexican. Hola. Hi, excuse me. You speak English? Little bit. Okay. You're not Mexican.
No.
No. Let me guess. Middle Eastern.
I'm from Venezuela.
Okay.
I live in Chile.
Oh, sick. That's cool. Number 2 is what the girl might be doing as a profession, as a career, all that stuff. You're a student. You work around here. You're a model. You're definitely an influencer. I bet you're in finance because you're 6'5". No, I'm just kidding. Don't use that one. And another one I like to go into is about their vibrato. So you have a really sporty vibe. You're going to the gym right now. I can tell you eat very healthy. So why it's so important for women to see that you're socially calibrated is for a few reasons. One is they want to see that other people like you, right? It gives them confidence that, hey, other people like this guy, other girls, other men. So therefore, I'm with somebody that is going to potentially improve my social status as well. Now, they obviously can't see your social life when you're out approaching, but when you do have good social skills and they can sense that, they assume that you are good with people. The second reason is it ensures safety. It ensures that, hey, look, if lo and behold, the world's going to end, a Last of Us situation happens, that, okay, this guy's going to be able to take care of me, and he's going to be able to find the people and the resources that it takes to ensure our survival. Most girls are smart enough to know we're probably not going to have an apocalypse, but in case that it does, they just want to know that, hey, this guy's going to be able to provide and protect for me. Third reason being that they find it attractive. They want to know that, hey, I'm going to be entertained by this guy. I'm not going to have to show up and lead the conversation, which is a masculine quality. I'm going to be able to show up, be feminine, be fun, be flirty, and he's going to be able to create an atmosphere for us that's going to be very conducive for attraction and where I can really just be myself. Of course, you want the girl talking and asking you questions, but again, she's going to be following your lead as a man. And so she wants to know that, hey, the things I'm going to be saying, the things that I'm going to be talking about are going to be in line with what this guy wants and where the conversation is going from this guy's leadership. All right, guys. So the next point here is very critical in making sure that you balance out the fun, flirty energy with being a normal person. What can happen a lot is guys get too into the flirtation, into the lines, and it comes off a little too gamey. Like, this isn't a movie. Like, girls know that we are people at the end of the day. So you need to balance that out with a bit of normalcy. Now, how can you do that in a way that's still going to be, cool, calm, collective? Well, it's to sprinkle in questions here or there. I like about 70, 75% assumptions, 20, 25% questions. Again, you want to balance this out so it goes into a normal tone of conversation, like you can hear in this example. So, what do you love about the city so far?
Cancún. Bueno, no en la ciudad. ¿Entiendes español?
Sí,
¿Sí lo entiendes?
sí, casi professional.
¿De verdad?
No mames.
No.
As you heard, I was asking her a basic question. The key to this, though, and why this is so impactful in continuing to keep the vibe high, even though you're asking questions instead of doing assumptions, is that because you already did assumptions and because you already set the tone from the beginning that this is going to be a flirty, fun conversation, that when you do step into the, hey, I'm going to get to know you a little bit, she still has that strong emotional excitement from when you were flirting with her and teasing her and whatever assumptions you were using with her. Women are very feeling driven. And so that's the big problem when guys are a little too logical too much, is that it gets boring. There's not that spark. There's not that rush. And in turn, girls get bored. And then you get confused on why she wasn't into you, even though it was a very polite, there wasn't aggression, but there just wasn't any spark. And so that's what assumptions really do, is they help light that spark. Now, a flame needs to be balanced out with some other elements, which is where questions come into play. So guys, the last reason why assumptions are so powerful in creating that successful cold approach with a woman is it really helps develop the way you speak to women. So next time you hear somebody ask you a question, listen to how it sounds, and particularly listen to their vocal inflection. Hey, where are you from? Hey, what are you doing here? What do you like about Mexico? You hear how my voice is going from down to up versus an assumption where,
No, you're Mexican. You're más joven.
pick up how in the assumption my voice was even and then it went downwards. That's what we want to be giving off when we're doing a cold approach, because when the voice goes low to up, like in a question, what's your name? It has a taking energy to it. And to be fair, a question is a taking thing. You are extracting something from somebody else. Of course, if you do it right, it can make them feel very good because they feel like you're interested in them. But if you do it too much or too frequently, and that's what we're trying to break the habit of through these exercises and from this video, you'll find that it can come off needy. It can come off like you're seeking something. And that is absolutely not the vibe we want to be giving to women. And the other thing too is listen to the next time a woman asks you a question. Listen to how her vocal tone sounds. It's very low to high, and so it sounds quite feminine, like in these examples here.
You work here? ¿Y qué haces por aquí ahora? ¿Está por el Zócalo?
This example does show a woman having high interest, and that's why she's asking the question. It does sound very feminine though, right? So as the man, we want to be balancing out that polarity with her going mid to high and us going mid to low. This will further increase the man to woman vibe because you are balancing out her feminine energy with your masculine energy. And as you are starting to understand it, it can be done as simply as changing the inflection of your voice. Something you can start to do to work on this and improve the skill so that when you are with women, you are kind of having this be more routine and prevent yourself from having that more feminine delivery in the way you speak. It's to practice asking questions in an assumptive tone. And this is really cool because one, when you do ask questions, they're going to come off very strong and masculine. You can almost ask a question as if you were doing an assumption, like in this example here.
You live in? It was a little too touristy.
Do you know what I mean?
Sí.
And ¿qué te gusta in Mexico? What do you like? ¿Cómo te llama? As you can hear, the question is almost a statement, which is a very good sign because it got rid of that mid to high energy. It kept the question very low and neutral. And therefore, even though it was a question, it kind of felt like a statement. So, what you can do to start working on this is practice saying a bunch of questions in an assumptive tone. For example, what do you like to do here? Where are you from? What's your family like? I'm almost commanding the question. And this is going to come off very strong. It's going to come off very masculine. And it's not what most guys are doing when they're asking questions. Again, when most guys ask questions, it's very needy, it's very taking, it lacks confidence. So this is a great way to add confidence and a new element into your question asking. Again, this will just show the women that you're a confident guy and that you know how to take an interest, but you're not going to revert to some of the feminine ways that many men fall into. So once again, guys, I have developed a plug and play system to teach you all of this and more in a very systematic and structured way so that you can start to date the women that you actually want and have success as well. No pity dates, no, I have the boyfriend, no, oh, the spark wasn't there. We're gonna work on all that so you can start having an abundant dating life that you have control over and that you feel you're not at the whim of whatever woman you're dating, where you actually have agency. And so I've helped dozens of guys figure this out for themselves, and I know you can figure it out too. So you can fill out an application to work with me personally down below in the description, and we'll be in touch if we are a good fit. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.